Welcome to the High School Star League. I'm Brownling, and casting with me today is Bacon Infinity, and we're going to be bringing you guys some awesome matches between the Texas Academy of Math and Science and Souhegan. Now, for those of you who are unaware, we are from the awesome team of SCB Rush, and we're going to be bringing you guys loads of StarCraft 2 action. But before that, I got to know how my brother's doing. Bacon, what's going on, man?
I'm doing pretty great. I'm excited for some good games. I hear we have a pro playing today, and that's going to be awesome.
Yeah, flip side's Jon Snow. Fantastic player. He's going to be playing here in this High School Star League, representing Souhegan High School. We're going to go ahead and hop right into our first match, ladies and gentlemen, of the evening. But let me tell you something. Our opponent team, the Texas Academy of Math and Science, has two Diamond players playing for them, and they were the first team that we casted for the High School Star League, and I gotta be honest with you, I was impressed. If anybody can beat Jon Snow, it's gonna be these awesome players. Let's go ahead and introduce them. Spawning in, oh, whoopsies. Pause. Sorry, guys. In our rush to get things perfected for you, we did not ensure perfection, so we will actually reload into it. Want to make sure the overlays are all right, so that looks all nice and pretty for you guys. So we'll just load right back in. I apologize.
One issue I'm seeing is, like, I've got the stream going and I don't actually see anything. Are we actually...
That's because we're on a 2-minute delay.
Okay, that would make sense.
That would make sense. Gotta have that 2-minute delay, man. You don't want any stream cheating going on in these replays.
Of course.
Yeah, it's a huge problem these days. A lot of pros loading up replays, stream cheating. Unbelievable.
Well, I mean, it's all because Blizzard added that resume from replay. Like, why would they do that?
Yeah.
You can just change the outcome of every single game.
Yep. Oh,
what
yeah. It's like, oh, no. You see, his APM actually went to 0, and I just won. All right, guys.
And that's the game.
That is the game. That is the game. All right, guys. We're going to get right back in here and do this the right way. This is why people don't let me stream. They're just like, you know what? You're just a voice, Brownling. No one cares about you. You can't do it right. Just talk. And I'm like, okay. And I talk about the most mundane things like build orders. Alright, guys. We're loaded back into the game. I do apologize. We're going to go ahead and introduce our players. Spawning in the top right of our map. I'm sorry, yes, top right of our map. It's going to be our pro player representing Flipside Gaming. It is Jon Snow. And spawning in the bottom left, representing 1A move, it's going to be our other Zerg player, representing the blue color, it is Clinch. And so as I mentioned before, Jon Snow is representing Souhegan High School, and their opponent, Texas Academy of Math and Science. Like I said, they're going to have to play really hard to win this, because Jon Snow is the kind of player that he just doesn't lose unless you are really, really good.
That is what happens when you are a professional.
That's true. And I mean, you know, Jon Snow is definitely up there. We've seen him in WCS Premier League. So we're gonna have to see what kind of builds our players pull out. Now, let me kind of poll you here, my good friend. A lot of people say that, you know, when going up against a player of significant league, you are supposed to, like, cheese them or do some kind of early all strategy to prevent the late game, because the late game is where pros really prevail, because macro is so important in this game, and their macro is solid, so you should try to limit how much macro comes into play. Do you agree with that, or do you think that it would be wiser to go toe-to-toe with them in a macro match? How do you feel about that?
You know, I'm torn about that idea. You know, I have played in a few tournaments myself where I've been placed up against people like far above my skill level, and from my personal experience, it's very difficult to make it work either way, because if you do cheese them, they just have that much more experience at shutting down your cheesy builds. But I'd say in a general sense, it is better to prevent it from getting to the late game, because every minute that goes by is another minute that you're more likely to screw up than they are.
Right, exactly. Yeah, and I mean, that's really what StarCraft is about. It's a game of who screws up first. You know, everybody
Exactly.
goes for the perfect game, but nobody's perfect at this. Okay, unless you're Flash or Life or Bomber. Okay, you know, at that level, you're pretty much perfect, and it's up to your opponent to mess you up. But at this level, you're really playing against yourself more than you're playing against your opponent, and you know that's kind of a hard concept for people to understand, but it's true.
Now, I'm really interested in this build that Clinch is going for because I see that I think they intentionally supply block themselves to get these lings out faster, and
Yeah,
we've got a Baneling nest coming up with it. So that could be a really like it seems like they are going for the cheesy build to throw off Jon Snow, and it just might work.
well, the interesting thing is that we're at 21 supply. Jon Snow has figured this is coming. He hasn't expanded. He's getting speed. He's getting banelings. These two players are going for the same build. And
Amazing
this
how
is,
that works.
I know. I mean, but this is ZVZ. But I mean, this is a huge map. Okay, you would figure of any map to not cheese on, it would be this one. But that's exactly why they've done it. They've gone, he'll never expect this, and lo and behold, both players are doing what they suspect the other doesn't know about. So we have a Baneling nest finishing up here. 3 Banelings on the way for Clinch. 3 already out for Jon Snow. And he's going to take that queen out front and do a little bit of scouting. Won't see anything at his ramp, but little does he know, Clinch is about to move in for the attack here.
Oh, but are the Banelings going to hit?
Oh, it's gonna be. This is interesting in ZVZ. This is where that micro comes into play here.
Oh
And
my
Clinch
God.
is going to lose loses almost all of his Banelings. In fact, he does lose all of his Banelings. And Jon Snow, the defender's advantage, is easily going to be able to clean this up with 4 Banelings remaining. GG is called. Whoa! All right, well, Clinch realizing that he just doesn't have what it takes to beat Jon Snow after that failed all in. And will leave the game. And that puts Souhegan High School up 1-0.
You know, I gotta say that is what we call a ZVZ.
That is ZBZ at its finest. That is your typical ZBZ. That whole, hey, let's throw lings at each other, let's throw banelings at each other, see what sticks. Nothing stuck, unfortunately, for a Clinch. You know, he lost his banelings very early on, and again, on a long map like that, I can understand Jon Snow going for the cheese. Because he's saying, you know what, even if I lose the cheese, I'll come out even and beat you in the macro game. Or even if I'm a little bit behind, I can still come back. But when you're a player like Clinch, the cheese isn't all in. It's not if I'm a little bit behind, I'm okay. No, this is an all in. This is I have to kill you or do massive damage. And as soon as he was across the map and ready to attack Jon Snow, he was already behind because he didn't have that defender's advantage. And it's such a long map. It takes forever for your Zerglings to come and reinforce. So
Exactly, and especially if you're waiting for the Banelings to morph when you get there, and it kind of, I want to call it a bit of a build order loss because Jon Snow was expecting some sort of cheesy play, so he had his own Banelings, he had his own Zerglings, except just behind it he had a bit more economy. You know, he made a few more drones there and defended, and then that's essentially the game.
yeah, I will definitely agree with that here. Now we are going to be moving into the next match here between Souhegan and Texas Academy Math and Science. And it's going to be Jon Snow again. Of course, Souhegan High School wanting to field Jon Snow as much as possible, just to make sure that they, get quite a few wins here as they start off. A rather smart strategy by them, I will say. Because he is a pro player. He's pretty much a guaranteed win. And for those unfamiliar with High School Star League format, let me explain how this works. Each high school will field 2 players. Player A will play their opposing high school, both players, and then player B will play the opposing players of both high schools. So you have a total of 4 matches. If one of your players is a shoo-in, if one of them is a ringer, then you automatically say, okay, well, at the least, we tie this week 2-2. So by fielding Jon Snow, they've guaranteed themselves in their minds at least a 2-2. And I mean, I'm fairly sure, Bacon, it's kind of in our minds that, the worst Souhegan does this week is 2-2, because I don't really expect anybody out here to beat Jon Snow.
It will be very tough. We'll see what can happen.
All right. Well, we are going to be hopping into our next match. Match number 2 in High School Star League, Week 9. It's going to be Jon Snow versus Malik. Malik is a player we've casted before. Fantastic player, but I mean, Clinch was good too. I will say, Texas Academy Math and Science, when we casted them in week 1, they decisively won their week 4-0. So they are capable of bringing the pain, but against a player like Jon Snow, we'll have to see what kind of strategies they've cooked up. Now, it's worth noting that they know they're going to be playing against Jon Snow. The roster is published. When it shows up that it's going to be Texas Academy Math and Science versus Souhegan, they know it's Jon Snow.
You have to see it coming.
So I mean,
you have to see it coming.
You would think that they would prepare something, just special for him. A little surprise that they wouldn't normally do. So we'll have to see if they in fact did prepare something special. I think that build that Clinch did was for Jon Snow. I think the problem was it was a bad map for it. So we'll have to see. This is a 2-player map. This is Expedition Lost. There's a much better opportunity for Cheese to work here, but Jon Snow's already on his toes, so we'll have to see if he can pull it off. Let's introduce our player spawning in on Expedition Lost. In the top corner, representing Texas Academy of Math and Science and the Brood Lord Life, it is our yellow Zerg player, Malik. And spawning in the bottom left, our pro player representing Flipside Gaming and Souhegan High School. It's going to be your pink Zerg player, Jon Snow.
Okay, so the first thing I have to say is that I have reevaluated my decision from last game. You know how I said that, that our amateurs here should try and cheese out Jon Snow?
Yeah.
I've done a full 180 on that. You know what? I think their safest approach to this game is that they need to stabilize in the mid game and make roaches. And I mean, I know it's a ZVZ. I mean, everybody's going to expect roaches, but it's just because that matchup is not very volatile at all. It's just you make roaches and roaches smash into each other's faces. It's a lot more difficult to screw that up than, say, a Ling Bane cheese.
That's true. That's true. But I mean, and it's we kind of saw it last game. Interesting that you mentioned that because, I'm gonna play devil's advocate and not agree here, but that's okay. And if you catch your opponent off guard, that's great. But you do make a good point. If Jon Snow is expecting cheese, and he delays his hatchery, and you're pumping out drones, then you're already ahead, and then you can take that advantage into the mid game. So there's different ways to play it depending upon how you expect the pro to react. Me, I expect the pro to be smart and do his thing and macro up. So I'm going to try and kill him as quick as I can. As Day 9 would say, sometimes the easiest way to kill your opponent is to just go across the map and kill him.
Yeah, that's how you got to do it.
Yep. Well, we do have near identical builds here. Going to be a hatch first from Malik, though. Getting his pool a little bit later, but he is on gas, and Jon Snow, on the other hand, did go for a pool first, maybe feeling the pressure here, said, you know what, I've gone against the cheese once, want to make sure I don't go down to it, so I'm going to go ahead and get my pool first. Not a bad choice. 4 wings on the map for Jon Snow. He's going to be extra careful here, protect this hatchery, and I wouldn't expect him to drone up from here.
Yeah, that is probably the preferred route. He hasn't seen anything super dangerous coming across the map, and that would be hitting by pretty much now at the latest. So with these 4 lanes, he can go get a good scout off, split them up, check the natural, check the main,
well,
look for
the dangerous thing here that
nest.
we have to mention, Bacon, is that there's no queen. These Zerglings are not just going to scout. They're going to chomp down some drones, already getting 1. A second drone might go down. Yes, it will go down. 2 wings here are going to come out and defend. And now Jon Snow, having killed 2 drones, should be quite satisfied with what he's gotten so far. He's going to get a good scout off. Going to try and sacrifice his lings for 1 more drone. Is he going to be able to get it? He gets a Zergling. But with the queen out, it looks like he may not be able to. He will get 1 more.
There's the drone.
And this is just some
3 drones down.
Yeah, this is some incredible micro from Jon Snow here. Getting 3 drones and a perfect scout off. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. Let me tell you, that is beautiful play. And especially early on, you'd say, oh, it was only 3 drones. But you know what? That's 120 minerals per minute that he's not mining. And those 120 minerals means 2 more drones. And those 2 more drones mean another 80 minerals, which means that in total you have 200 minerals. And so you're 200 minerals behind. And then those 200 minerals could have been 4 more drones, and it goes on and on and on. These things do
It just
add up,
snowballs
Bacon.
so quickly. Snowballs so quickly. And the other thing you have to know is that, Jon Snow, he didn't expect to get that done. He made those 4 lanes for the only purpose was to scout. And if you walk out of there with 3 drone kills, then you're just even more ahead.
Oh yeah, he's very happy with that. He knows what his opponent's doing. He scouted the gas timing. He scouted the queens and hatchery timing. Now, typically, when 2 queens come out at the same time, that signifies that your opponent went hatch first. So he didn't have to, even though the hatch was finished, he knew just by looking at when the queens popped, okay, you're going to be playing a macro game. You went hatch first. I know what you're going to do. And he's likely going to suspect roaches, and that would be a good guess. I don't know if we're going to see roaches here. Ah, the roach warren goes down. Thank you, me.
There we go.
I mean, this is what you would expect out of a hatch first build. That heavy roach play. Because it's kind of like, almost like a Protoss's 7-gate all-in. You go your expansion first, build up that economy, you stop, and then you just pump out the roaches. And it's such a powerful build. And I think, like you said, like you wanted him to do, I think Malik's going to go 2-base roach all-in and just try and crush Jon Snow. But again, as we said before, behind in drones, it's going to hurt him a little bit. He's going to be slightly delayed.
His lair's a little slower, too. Although he does have the faster roach warren. And his saturation is looking quite good. He's got the 3 gas that you really... Well, I mean, his gases aren't finished yet, but the 3 gas that you really need to pump out, like that is the gas count that you need to pump out 2-base roaches, basically indefinitely.
Yeah, 3 gases is the count. Now, interestingly, I'd like to bring up that Jon Snow's taking a 3rd base. This is kind of risky if he doesn't identify that this is a 2-base roach all-in, because that means he's going to have 2 locations to defend, his natural and his 3rd. And that's a lot of resources trying to drone up that 3rd that could go into the defense of Jon Snow. Do you think this is an error? Do you think he's good enough to actually hold both and then come out on top with an economic advantage? What's your take on this play? I question it.
I think I think Jon Snow has all the vision he needs to know that this 2-base roach play is a possibility. He's seen the Evo chamber. He's seen the roach warren. He doesn't have knowledge of the lair, but he has to know it's there because you don't really go roaches without intending to get roach speed. So I think he is going to be prepared to deal with this and probably is just wanting to play for that late game.
Well, Malik has taken a 3rd base, and we've seen this a little bit, and you can still call it a 2-base roach attack, depending on the attention of the attacking player. If this is going to be oh, hey, I really just want a macro hatch, but I might as well put it at the minerals so that if I get enough damage done, at least I have a 3rd base and he can't attack me. We see that a lot in roach play, but I'm not sure if that's what it is. He may actually intend to drone that up, and it would be a real problem if he did, because on the other side of the map is Jon Snow. We have our first engagement here. Roaches are lining up. They're going to get a good surround here. Moving up the 3rd base ramp is Malik. Malik now has a surround. His reinforcing roaches coming from the natural, but I'm not sure that he's actually going to have enough reinforcements. These are a lot of roaches from Jon Snow. 111 in supply to 88. He's going to walk in, and Malik, intending to drone up that 3rd base, will now lose it as he just doesn't have the reinforcements. He doesn't have the roach count to defend it, and now Jon Snow moves to the natural. Malik here, fighting for his life, is going to try and defend at the natural, but he lets Jon Snow up the ramp. Now the roaches of Jon Snow able to get a good surround. They're within melee range. This queen is going to do what it can, but it's not going to be enough, and GG is called. Bacon, totally not what I would have expected.
No, I was not seeing that coming at all, but the defender's advantage just wasn't quite good enough. It's possible that that Malik was just droning too hard, or not even droning too hard, but droning without enough information. Because if you make that round of drones and you aren't ready for the roach push, or you aren't aware of the incoming roach push, then you are just, it's an invitation to die.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, one of the things that happened in that game is actually it was Jon Snow who kind of used that third base as a macro hatch, as a platform. He didn't drone it up completely. He decided, you know what, I'm going to put a few drones on it, that's great. A little bit of extra saturation, never hurt anybody, but I'm going to attack. Now is my time for glory. He went for it, and he had just such a large army. And it was not an all-in by any means, but he was able to crush the army of his opponent and just walk up into the natural. At that point, you GG out. There's really nothing you can do. And that just kind of goes to show you the capability of a player like Jon Snow. When you're going up against a pro, they make things look so easy. It's scary, really. I mean, like I said, it wasn't an all-in. He just happened to have more roaches because his macro was better. You know, he wasn't intending. I don't think that was supposed to be a game-winning blow. I think that was going to be, hey, let me go kill your third base, and then I'll come on back home because I've done my damage. But we didn't see any defense out of Malik. And at that point,
certainly
Jon
not
Snow,
enough of it.
yeah, and at that point, Jon Snow went, you know what, I can just go kill you. And he went and killed Malik. And so now, Jon Snow, his games are over for the day, but he brings his team up to 0. Now, we're going to move on to our third match here, and we're going to meet our second player from Souhegan High School, and it is Knockout. Now, we've casted Souhegan High School before, and Bacon, I don't think you were with us, so let me tell you something about Knockout. Knockout is a Silver Zerg player. Not exactly the best in the business, but that's okay. One of the things that we mentioned is, he doesn't have to be, because keep in mind that the high school that wins this Star League gets a lot of scholarship money. So you want to help out your team as much as possible, and his teammate's Jon Snow. So if anyone can take a Silver Zerg and make him into a champion, believe me, it's going to be Jon Snow.
That is true. So he's got some good coaching.
So Knockout here is going to be playing against the Diamond player Clinch. And Clinch is, of course, playing for the Texas Academy of Math and Science, and he did go down to Jon Snow. He's going to try and bring it back 2-1 for his team. Wants to do as much as he can, because as I said before, you know, you can tie in High School Star League, and so that's kind of what, you know, Texas Academy is really looking for. They know they can't win it. That's okay. There's no shame in losing to a guy like Jon Snow. But here is the deciding factor. Do they go down 3-1? Or do they have a chance of bringing it back 2-2? Well, this game will decide their path. Spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, representing Souhegan High School, the protege of Jon Snow, it is Knockout. And spawning in the bottom right, having suffered a defeat at the hands of Jon Snow, wanting his revenge against Souhegan High School, he represents Texas Academy of Math and Science. It's our Pink Zerg player, Clinch. And as I said before, you know, Clinch is a diamond level player. And under normal circumstances...
Wait, I'm just going to interrupt you for 1 second.
Oh, please go ahead.
We have a 6 pool.
We do?
We
do
have
have a 6 pool! Oh my goodness, Knockout, you are a Zerg after my own heart here. Knockout is going to cheese his way to victory, folks. He's got 7 drones and not a care in the world.
Now, is it going to be a hatch first? That is the big question.
Yeah, if it's hatch first, that's going to be devastating for Clinch. And one thing I will mention, it's not so much the investment in minerals as how long the pool is going to be delayed if he decides to go hatch first. And it's going to be pool first. Clinch moves out his drone to make that pool, so he's going to be a little bit safer. And I will say that a 14 pool does soft counter a 6 pool, simply because the pool will be finished by the time the Lings get over there. Well, almost finished. And then you have so many drones that if they don't get a significant amount of kills, it's pretty much over.
It does come down to the control, though, so we will see how much gets done.
Yeah, it really does come down to the control here.
I gotta say, I really like the GLHF at that timing.
But yeah, it would have been better if it was from Knockout, because then that would have been kind of cheeky. He'd have been like, have fun with this, buddy. It's a 6 pool. But no, it was Clinch who was saying, good luck, have fun. Maybe he knows something.
Maybe.
Actually, what's interesting is that once you get to a high enough level, you actually do start noticing, hey, wait, that guy's second Overlord is late coming over to my base. He's 6-pooling me. I've heard
This is a
pros.
very roundabout way of getting to the base, but
Well,
he just really does not want to be revealed by those overlords.
but it's too late.
Although it has been seen.
Yeah, his reinforcements have been seen streaming across the map. I like the choice here. He's not going to go for the expansion. He's going to go straight into the main. 8 Zerglings are here to attack. There is a spine being made in defense and more Zerglings on the way, but that spine should not last long. Does it get canceled? Yes, it gets good cancel here. Oh man. Oh. So these Zerglings are going to get into the mineral line, do what damage they can. We have a lot of drones losing their lives, but the reinforcements here for Clinch are good. 2 Zerglings versus 5 Zerglings. Still with a lot of drones. Queen does pop, and this Queen should help significantly to clean things up.
Now, they're actually even on drones now, so, you know, the attack was definitely not bad, but the only issue is that Clinch now has the natural up,
Yeah,
whereas...
he has more Zerglings, too.
That's true.
I mean, what that comes down to, as you said before, is the control. Clinch is not giving up here, but neither is Knockout. He's got more Zerglings streaming across the map. This isn't all in if you know, I've ever seen one, and it should be. If you do not kill this base, you do not win from this position. Even if you are on equal worker count, just because the worker count for the player with 2 bases doubles because of, well, larva. So this Queen,
larva production, queens.
Yeah, queens are really good. Queen does go down though, but at the expense of all of Knockout's Zerglings, and I'm not sure if Knockout's gonna be able to hold on here. He is retreating, and the Wings of Clinch are going across the map. At the same time, though, Knockout starting to drone up a little bit. I feel like that's kind of an error in this position. You know your opponent's chasing you across the map. You need to make some defenses there, broski. You don't have quite what you need. I'd like to see a Spine Crawler go down. Otherwise, the reinforcements of Clinch are just going to be able to knock him out of this match. Few Zerglings are going to chomp down on this natural expansion. Will be shooed away by the superior lane count of Knockout, but more and more lanes streaming across the map. And once again, Clinch has gas taken and has started the link speed. So this is going to snowball very quickly here, Bacon.
Yes. I do like the fact that Clinch is droning out of this. He's accepting, like, I defeated the cheese. I am going to be the stronger player in the mid to late game. And also, just like, even with those drones, he just has more links, and Knockout calls it GG.
Yeah, Knockout's gonna GG here, and Clinch is gonna secure the first win for his team. Wow, he was waiting for his opponent to GG as well. Wow. And he's still in the game. I don't understand. He said GG, bro. Okay, there we go. Alright. Some players, man, they just get so disappointed when they don't get that GG back. What can I say?
It's all about the manner.
It is all about the manner. As our good friend White Raw once said, more GG, more skill.
Exactly. If you don't GG, you're not going to get better.
And then Idra came along and destroyed that theory, but that's another discussion for another day. As far as Idra is concerned, he's like, more BM, more skill. I'll get my opponent on the back foot. I'll demoralize him and then crush him. And then, when I'm on the brink of victory against a Terran player, I will kill my own base and leave the game.
Yep.
It's pretty much how Idra
And that's what he's doing in Heroes of the Storm now.
Yeah. I'm actually a huge Idra fan. I can't criticize him too much. I love Idra. He's changed a lot. He's a good guy. He's always been a good guy. But he's always been that kind of BM player. He's kind of come out of that. Really happy for him to be back on EG. Can't imagine how awkward that conversation was. It was like, well, hey Idra, there's so Blizzard is having this Heroes of the Storm tournament, and I hear that your team is actually Team Snowflake's actually like #1 in Heroes, and look, okay. I know we kicked you off before, and I know you lost thousands of dollars because of it, but we're cool, right? We're cool, right?
Yeah.
You can come back and play, right? Yeah. I guess if you throw enough money at him, he'll say yes to anything. So it worked out,
I mean,
it
all comes down to business.
All right, well, guys, congratulations to Clinch, who does secure the first victory for his high school. Got to be excited about that. They will not, well, they still could go down 3-1, but at least they're on the right path, bringing it back 2-1. now. So Souhegan High School is still in the lead, but they only have their silver player remaining, and they're going to be playing against the diamond player, Malik. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I love my ZVZ. But this entire HSL cast is ZVZ, so I hope you enjoy it as well. Before we get into this next match, I would like to go ahead and mention our awesome sponsors, tell you a little bit more about the High School Star League as we get things prepared here. The High School Star League is offering $5,000 worth of scholarship money to StarCraft 2 players who are competing this year. And that is all thanks to our very wonderful sponsors. You see them on our overlay up here, but I'll go ahead and give them a verbal shout out. I think we can afford them that much. I'm talking about Twitch, Newegg, Rockhat, Blizzard, MSI, and Jink. That's right in the bottom right, you see them there. They are the ones who are helping us put this on. And of course, the wonderful admins from the High School Star League who manage pretty much the most incredible spreadsheet I've ever seen of players in high schools competing against each other. I look at it and I have to sit down. I'm like, no, my brain cannot handle this. I'm all about the StarCraft. You deal with the spreadsheets. And while we're getting this next match, do give us a follow. Today's casters at Browning SC2 and at Bacon_Infinity. And of course, give the High School Star League a follow here. You see our social media in the bottom left. There is more StarCraft coming. Don't worry, folks. We're going to have more StarCraft coming at you tomorrow at the same time. But right now, Bacon, it's the moment of truth. Does Souhegan High School take this series 3-1? Or is the Texas Academy of Math and Science going to be able to bring it back 2-2? Let's get into the final game of the afternoon. So, we're casting a lot of ZVZ. I gotta ask, is ZVZ one of those matches where you're like, yes, yes? Or is it one of those where you're like, how do you feel about this matchup?
Well, it comes down to the question of, am I playing or am I watching?
Oh, it so often does.
Because as a Zerg player, I'm very comfortable in ZVZ because, like I said earlier, you get your roaches. It comes down to, very, like, fundamentally things. Like, you want to be on your macro, watch your upgrades, and you don't have to do any of those, like, really clutch, micro decisions like splitting Marines versus Storm or anything like that. Or splitting Marines versus Banelings.
Yeah, the ZVZ matchup very typically tends to be a much more macro-oriented matchup. Not as true, I feel, in the early game when you've got that bling splitting and microing, but when it gets into Roach versus Roach, the thing about Roach is that, especially without speed, they're so slow that the micro that you can do with them is limited compared to the splitting of Marines, because Marines are really fast. They can get out of the way, out of range of, receiving attack damage very quickly. Before we get too far into these discussions, though, I'm going to go ahead and introduce our players for the final time of the afternoon. Spawning in the right-hand corner of Catalina, hoy, 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 representing the Texas Academy of Math and Science, it's our Yellow Zerg player, Malik. And spawning in the top right, he lost his last match. He has an opportunity to bring his team to victory, though, 3-1. We're going to have to see if he can pull it off. The protege of Jon Snow, representing Souhegan High School. It's our Silver Zerg player in the Teal Trunks Knockout. These two
now, how do you feel about ZVZ then? Sorry.
How do I feel about it? I love ZVZ. I love playing it. I love watching it. I love eating it. I love everything about ZVZ. And the reason I love it so much is it is very much a knife fight. There's so much action in the early stages of the game when both players decide, well, let's play this Ling Bling game. I like to see how many Zerglings explode. I like to see the awesome splits. I like to see the disappointment on players' faces when they're like, I had 5 Banelings and they killed only 2 Zerglings. What is this? That is what it's all about to me, because it's the ultimate all or nothing match. You either get the most, the most exciting, impossible, beautiful, killing 20 Zergling Baneling hits, or you just get totally demolished, and that excitement keeps me on the edge of my seat. That is why I love ZVZ, and that's why I'm excited to cast this match here. Now,
and it looks like we are going to have some, a bit of Zergling aggression, possibly. We'll see what they do with this gas once they get it all mined, but if it goes into speed, we might have just that excitement.
Yeah, we very well may. ZVZ, like I said, very interesting matchup, very volatile matchup. Once you lose your lings, it's GG. It is very hard to win or even defend after a successful bailing hit, because the attacking opponent with speed can get over to your base so quickly. It really does limit defenders' advantage compared to something like a TVT, where, you know, your opponent has to wait for his Marines to march across the map. No, Zerglings get there very quickly. And speaking of Zerglings, there are 6 Lings from Knockout moving out onto the map. They're going to go ahead and check out Malik's base. May even get a single drone kill here. But there are 2 Queens on the ramp to defend. Shouldn't get too much done, but he will see this Bailey nest, and that's some very telling information here.
Yeah, I am curious about the Bailey nest at the front, but it looks like it was just sort of to complete that partial wall.
Yeah.
To, you know, shove the Queens in there, your ramps defended.
I would like to mention, Knockout is not producing drones anymore. He is going all in with his Zergling attack. This is scary for him, because there's a spine here that's going to complete this wall on the right side. There's 2 Queens. There's going to be a Bailing nest finished, and speed for both players is about to kick in. Malik's actually going to have speed first. I just think that Knockout... Oh, man. I think he needs to fall back and just take a third base and start droning up, because I do not think this is the attack that's going to win him the game.
Yeah, Knockout is going to have to drone out of this because, like you said, it's not going to happen. The defender advantage combined with this excellent SimCity is, and I mean, there are already Banelings up. There are 4 Banelings out. There's no way this is going to happen.
Yeah,
minimize your losses and go home.
Okay, well, he's going to move in here. Go for it. And I don't think he knows about the Banelings. He sees them and he's going to back off. Very good choice. We're going to have to see if he tries to get some damage done. He more than Banelings of his own, but, oh, God, this is intense. Oh, great Baneling hits. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Losing about half of his Zerglings here. And there's still 3 more Banelings remaining. Gonna complete this full wall now with the Roach Warren. Oh, the Roach Warren doesn't go down in time. The Zerglings start to flood in. Banelings are crashing in everywhere. But they're attacking the wrong target. They're trying to take out the Queens, and that's not what they wanted. Now, they get a few drones, but that was a lot of expensive units from Knockout, and he doesn't have anything else coming across the map. Looking at the supply here, 27 to 38. Malik is still in the lead, Bacon.
Having said that, the attack didn't go nearly as badly as it could have. So we will see what happens here, but these drones are not what Knockout needed. Knockout might just die to this Ling flood.
Yeah, he knows it's coming. He sees it with his overlords. He needs to go ahead and prepare his defenses. 2 Queens on the ramp will be what he chooses to use, but that leaves his natural expansion very exposed, and if Malik moves in, which he does, he should be able to take this out with no problem. Now on the defense, a few Zerglings going to be coming in, but there are no Banelings here just yet for Knockout. And, you know, with this many links, he actually may be able to break through that Queen wall. Now moving the Queens out, trying to defend the natural expansion, and I think Malik here is going to be able to take out everything. He loses quite a few Zerglings, is going to have to back off here, but his next round may be able to seal the deal.
Oh, the Banelings. Now, they could just right-click that hatch, but no, it goes down anyway with the splash damage.
Yep, Broodlings coming out of that hatchery. Someone has disturbed their slumber. They will move on out, and they will essentially explode. I've never understood that. Why do Broodlings, like, explode, like, after a time period? Like,
it's just one of those mysteries of the universe.
Yeah, it's like if they just, like fell over and died, I'd understand. I'd be like, oh, okay, they're not used to being out in the open. But, like, they explode so violently. It's like, dude, what is your problem? Like, why? You had so much to live for. Why would you explode? Don't do that. No. And we have Malik here moving out across the map once again with a very vicious Ling force here. Taking a look here at the units tab, we see 14 Zerglings to 7 Zerglings and 3 Banelings for Malik. And, well, I guess Knockout knows that he has Banelings now. Roaches are going to come in here and should tank for the remainder of Malik's Zerglings. 6 Roaches here moving across the map, and with their ranged attack, GG is going to be called. Knockout knows it is all for naught, and now, well, we have GG's all around 2-2. is how we finished this high school Star League day. This was Souhegan versus Team Academy Math and Science. Now, once again, Souhegan has had a very good track record, and they should, given that they have Jon Snow. Now, their silver player seems kind of like the weak link. We didn't see the gameplay needed to shut down diamond players. Do you think if he goes up against a gold player in some of his other weeks, that he's going to be able to help Souhegan get to the top of our bracket?
I think that's a definite possibility. I mean, his macro was very, very good for, a Silver League player. Obviously, there were some missteps. Like, he probably should have threw his Roach Warren down after his Ling Bane attacks, just so he had those safety roaches.
Right,
and that
right.
maybe would have kept him alive against the follow-up push. But just in general, the play was not, it's not what I would describe as Silver League behavior. So I think he could definitely take on a Gold League player, maybe even a Platinum. But once you get up to the Diamond Master level, things get very intense.
Yeah. And, I mean, I will kind of piggyback off that and say that he did make a few mistakes. He played very well, no doubt about it. Especially from a silver player, I would not be surprised if he found himself in Gold League. I think that game sense is kind of like leaving him behind. And like you said, he made a round of Lings after his attack on his opponent's natural expansion, and he should have realized that he didn't kill all the Zerglings. Therefore, you don't want Zerglings to just sit around and do nothing. So if you know you've killed your opponent's army, you typically counterattack. And it seems to me like he didn't really understand that concept. He hadn't experienced it enough, maybe, or maybe he just kind of brain farted. I don't know. But he started building drones after his attack, and it's like, well, you've done some damage to your opponent. Now he wants to return the favor. This is not the time to drone up. This is the time to throw down spines, build a wall, then drone up, while your opponent tries to make units to try and kill you, defend, have the superior economy, attack him again, and win the game. And that's how a Diamond Platinum player would approach it, but obviously, he was just in Silver, and that's okay, like I said, and like you said as well. He's not playing like a Silver player, and I would not be surprised if he helps his team bring home some wins and send him to the top of this bracket.
I would like to see that.
Yep, well, that is going to be...
We'll see what happens.
Yeah, that's going to be it for us today, folks. We really enjoyed casting the games, and we'll be back tomorrow at 2 p.m. to bring you more StarCraft action. We may even see Intense play again. Now, we've talked about Intense before. Intense is another pro that we're going to have to watch out for. So we've got quite a few teams with pros on them, and we're excited to bring you all the StarCraft action. Once again, 2 p.m. Central Time tomorrow here on twitch.tv/HS Star League. Big shout out to our sponsors and the high school Star League admins. We really appreciate you guys putting this together for us. We've absolutely loved the opportunity to cast it. We hope you've enjoyed watching just as much as we have enjoyed casting. We hope that you will join us tomorrow. For everyone here at High School Star League, thanks guys, and have a great afternoon.